Hi, welcome to episode 193 of The Corner of Knit and Tea. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where this episode and every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea where I sell my handspun yarns, and we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea. Hello, how are you? It is Sunday, July 29th, and it is a cool and balmy 75 degrees here today and slightly overcast, and so it has been cooler. It has been a really nice week. I've mostly been by myself, but my husband got home yesterday. He went and did RAGBRAI, which is a bike ride across Iowa, so he was gone for a week, riding his bicycle and camping and hanging out with his team, and I was here doing lots of little things. My big thing was I made a trip to IKEA on Friday with a friend of mine, and I bought a bunch of stuff. I am turning the craft room into a home office / craft room, so things are changing. And the funny thing is that I am recording in the eye of the storm. I cleaned up this part of the room so that I could do the podcast, and the rest of the room looks like a bomb blew up. I am alternating between building IKEA furniture and then loading it up with the stuff that's in this room and moving other pieces out. I will do a craft room office tour in another couple weeks when it is done, but that is my plan for August, and I have lots of stuff to clean out and get rid of. I will be destashing some stuff on Ravelry, both equipment and probably also yarn and fiber. And I'm just kind of getting things organized around here, which is long overdue. But I am going to put a desk and a computer in here, and since I want to spend a little bit more time in here, I need it to be a little bit cleaner. Right now it is mostly a repository for everything that I throw in here, and so I need to do a little bit of work in here, but I am excited. It's going to brighten up the room a little bit. I'm not repainting or anything, I'm just putting in some new furniture. And it was my inaugural trip to IKEA. I guess I didn't have that right in college. So I shopped and I brought home, and that luckily my friend Beth went with me because I would not have been able to lift anything myself. But I was super proud of myself even before Wes didn't get home till like 1 a.m. this morning. And so yesterday I opened some of the boxes in the garage and I brought little bits and pieces upstairs and I built a couple pieces of furniture, and so I'm pretty proud of myself for getting a bunch of this done. I needed him to help me move a couple of the heavy pieces, but otherwise that's what I am up to. So there has been some crafting this week, not as much as I would like, particularly in the last day or two because I've been working on stuff, but let's get to it. The tea that I am drinking today is from Adagio. It is the Critical Role series. I think I told you about this. Critical Role is a Dungeons & Dragons game on Twitch that Wes and I watch, and he got me the fandom pack. This one is called White Tower, and it is a blend for Arcanists, vanilla green and cinnamon. And I believe I've drunk this one before, possibly even on the show, and I'm drinking it in my Loopy U Spring Fling mug from way long ago, and it's delicious. So that is what I'm doing in the tea today. Let's talk about knitting and spinning. I don't have a ton to show you, but we'll start. The first is a whip. I have showed you this for a couple weeks now. This is the Pismo Beach Pullover by Amanda Schusinger, and I am planning to knit mine sleeveless. Again, this is kind of what it looks like. It is a kind of loose-fitting pullover with lace on it. I saw somebody else's sleeveless and really liked it and decided to go for it. The yarn that I am using, let's see if I can find one with the tag still on, is Katia Air Luxe in the teal colorway. It is kind of a metallic teal and black. It's fuzzy. It's got viscose and merino. These balls are crazy. They have 328 yards. It's a fingering weight yarn and it's fuzzy, but they're just great yardage. And I am doing pretty well. I did work on this all of this week, and this was pretty much the only thing I worked on until late yesterday when I cast something else on, which I'll show you. I am still not where I need to be, but it is now almost the end of July, beginning of August, and I have some other things that I need to get done in August. So I suspect this is going to take a back seat to some of the other things that I'm going to work on, but I will still pull it out and work on it a little bit. I'm really, really enjoying it. This is what I've got so far. I have not measured. Looks like probably between 10 and 12 inches, and I need 19. So I have a ways to go. But like I said, it's just a basic, it's panels of stockinette with the same lace pattern. It's a 4-row lace repeat, and 2 of those are just knit rows. So it's going to be really nice. I think it's going to be a good color against my skin. It's kind of hard to tell in this light, but that is what I am working on. And like I said, I don't think I'm going to do the sleeves. So I just kind of have to finish and then separate and do the neck treatment and whatever. And so I will move on this, if not till September, October, November. I have this strange feeling that my Nanny Suemo this year may be finishing all the sweaters that I've started, because this is actually the second sweater that I have in progress that I'm not working on, and I'm casting on new ones. So, that brings me to what I cast on. A wonderful dear friend of mine who is almost like a sister, but not. She's a good friend of my sister's and mine, so we joke that she is the third sister. She is having a baby boy this fall, and he joins what will be a 2-year-old sister. So I wanted to make him a little sweater, and Mom told me that the little sweater that I made for baby girl, who is now almost 2, they used it forever. So she was hoping that I would make him his own little sweater. That had already been in the plans. I think I'm also going to make a Mario the Artistic Rabbit for Big Sister, and that's with some handspun that I did not that long ago. So that will be next on the needles. But the first thing that I did was I decided to start a sweater for him. I am doing the Playdate cardigan, which is by Tin Can Knits. It is a paid-for pattern on Ravelry. I believe it was $7, or it comes in a book with a million other patterns. Okay, 6 other patterns for $16, which I thought was a really good deal, considering all of the patterns are sized from baby to all the way through adult. So if I wanted to knit myself a sweater from this book, or a vest, there's a blanket, there's some socks, there's a few other things in there. So it was a good book, and I decided to order it. I am using some yarn in the stash that I think I bought from a D-stash, because I'm positive I didn't buy this from the Loopy U. But these are the Loopy U Solid series. They are basically half skeins of fingering weight, so it's 2 ounces, 220 yards, 100% superwash merino wool, 7 to 8 stitches per inch, and the colorway is malachite. So that is Loopy U Solid series. I believe they sell them in smaller skeins so that you can work on larger projects, or so you can do like stripy socks or contrasting heels and toes or whatnot, and not have to buy like a whole skein of sock yarn. I don't remember, but I know that they are pretty reasonably priced. And the colorway is just absolutely gorgeous. This is malachite. It's like a tealy, greeny, dark blue. You know, I was actually going through my stash looking for a different skein of yarn, which I think had some silk in it, and as such was not terribly washable. So this is definitely much better, because I'm sure this will go in the machine just fine. So I started last night while I was waiting for Wes to get home, because I knew he was going to come home late. And I got through, the sweater is worked in the bottom up. It is a cardigan with like some nice ribbing on it. You can do some pockets. It's just a pretty plain little sweater. And I started on the ribbing and got a few inches. Like I said, you start at the bottom and then work your way up, separate for fronts and back, and then you pick up the sleeves and knit down. I'm so on the gauge of this sweater, so I am knitting it as called for, with a US 5 for the body and US 3 for the ribbing, and I think it looks kind of, the fabric is kind of loose, and I'm not a huge fan of it, but I decided to just follow the pattern because almost 1,000 people have knit this and they have to know something, right? I probably should have done a gauge swatch, but I don't often gauge swatch for baby garments because I kind of feel like it will fit the baby at some point. I'm knitting the 3 to 6 month size. I don't know if I said that. If it's a little small, it will fit him a little early. If it's a little big, it will fit him a little later. He is a beginning of September baby, so 6 months puts us in March. So my theory is that somewhere in there, you know, I'm sorry, he's the beginning of September baby, so, well, no, I think he's a late September baby. 6 months puts us like beginning to later March, and so I think this will be fine. It looks approximately the right size when I hold it up here. It's just that the fabric is pretty loose, and honestly, if I had it to do myself, I would probably go down to size 3s. But I was a little concerned that if I went to size 3s, it would be too small, and I didn't want to do the next size up, which is 6 to 12 months, which seems enormous for a newborn. So, yeah. So, Playdate cardigan by Tin Can Knits in Luffy U Solid Series Malachite. I will figure out buttons as soon as I get a little further into it and look through my button stash once I figure out where I put my buttons. Yeah, the craft room's a little torn apart. But this was relatively easy to find, and so I wound these skeins up, and that is what I will work on this week. My hope is that I will mostly finish this week, so I can knit the bunny next week. And then next up on the needles is Roxy's birthday sweater. And we are heading out of town, not next weekend, the weekend after, for our anniversary, and I would love to be into her sweater by then so I could take it with me for the car ride. So yeah, so that is what I'm working on, and we'll be working on it this week and hopefully can show you more next week. So those are the 2 knits for now. I mentioned the other sweater. That's kind of a secret project. I don't know when my sister watches, but I'm knitting her a sweater, so I don't think she really watches the podcast, but that's why there haven't been photos anywhere, because I know she watches my photos. And that is not very far along, and I have not made very much progress in that. So like I said, in November, I may just be finishing up a lot of different sweaters. So that's what I've got. Let's talk about spinning. Okay, spinning, the end of Tour de Fleece. Today is the final stage in the Tour de France. It has actually already been done, but I can watch the streaming with Wes this afternoon. My third spin for the tour was that lovely Woolly Wonka Fibers braid called Rose Garden. It was pinks and yellows and greens and purples, and it was merino and black tencel. And so this is how it came out. There are pictures on my Instagram if you would like to see. It came out to be about 315 yards of what I would call a sport to DK weight. It is nice and squishy and soft and kind of muted colors. Like I said, pink, purple, teal, green, very pretty. It's up in the shop, and photos are on my Instagram if you want to see better color. I think it's getting a little washed out today. I have my light on and I have the window open, and there's nothing blocking the window. There used to be something sort of blocking the window, so I don't know how the light's gonna look, but yeah. So that is the finished one. My final spin for the tour is not finished yet. I'm planning to ply it while watching the tour this afternoon. This is that gorgeous Julie Spins braid that is called Crazy Lace Agate. It was named after gemstones that people were putting up in the thread, and it is about 6.5 ounces of fiber. And so I finished the singles yesterday, and I am going to wind those off and ply this next. So that will be the final skein of the tour. For those of you who participated, I have put up a finished objects thread. What you can do is post either one photo or a collage of all your photos, one post per person who participated in the tour. Post in there what you did over the tour. Like I said, it can be pretty much anything in your post, but post what you did during the tour. I will do a drawing for 2 fiber bumps. One person, double the fiber, and I think I said get it in by midnight tomorrow wherever you are, and that's Monday, and I will draw on Tuesday the 31st for the final prize. So that finishes off the spinning portion of the summer. I can't believe it went by so fast. Overall, I have to see what this pushes me to, but I'm thinking I've got about 1.5 pounds, maybe a little bit more than that. which isn't terrible for me. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Well, let me think about this. So I spun over 1 pound and then another 4 ounces and 6. So yeah, so I'll be between 1.5 and 2 pounds, which is a good tour for me. I don't think I did that much last summer because we traveled, I think. I can't keep track. 1.5 to 2 pounds is excellent for me during a tour. I know there are people who do far more than that, but I am not one of them. So I'm going to finish that up, and then actually my next spin on the wheel is going to be 8 ounces. I don't know if I'm going to start it right away, and I know that it won't be done right away because we're going to travel and I'm not going to take a wheel with me. So this is like berries on a bush. It is Hello Yarn Falkland. I have 2 bumps of this, and I am going to, I haven't decided how I'm going to spin this. I think I might do a fractal spin, where the first braid I tear into tiny strips and the second braid I spin straight through or in maybe just 2 parts. But I decided that I want to spin this up to knit a Canyonlands, which I believe is by Marnie McLean. No, it's by Mim Knits. And it is something that Amy Beth, the Fat Squirrel, knit recently, and then gosh, I'm just Amanda, So Knitpicky Wit. She owns she does Not a Podcast, which is now Knitting Cute, or Knit Cute, and she has the Lamy Toes shop. She is working on one, and I would like to do one. And I really liked this colorway. It is it reminds me of summer fruits. It's like plum and peach and just really, it's like black plum and purple, and it's just a really, really cool colorway, and so I would like to make myself something out of it. So I think I'm going to do an 8 ounce spin for myself, and like I said, I haven't decided if I'm going to do it fractal or just crazy barber pole or what. And then I'm going to knit that pattern, which is not specifically for hand spun, but it looks great in hand spun. So thank you to Amy Beth, the Fat Squirrel, for the inspiration, and Amanda, So Knitpicky, for giving me the kick in the butt to maybe do a knit along with her, and I'm going to work on spinning this up next. So maybe that will be something I do in September if I don't run over completely, because I have a bunch more to knit in August. So, like berries on a bush, Falkland, Hello Yarn. So that is the spinning content. I think that's about it. I hope that I will have more to show you in the next week or 2 as I get back into knitting. And you know me, I have some instant gratification knits. Oh, I have the winter hats with the Brown Sheep Stratosphere that I showed you last week. I have the sweater, the bunny, and Roxy's sweater. So those are the things that I will be working on this month, going back to my sweater or my sister's sweater if I have a chance. And that's what we're going to be doing. Also more renovations here. And then, like I said, I will be away the weekend of August 9th and 10th. It is our 10th wedding anniversary, and so we are taking a little getaway. There probably will not be a podcast that weekend. I take it back. 9th and 10th are Friday. The 9th is our anniversary. I believe it's the 11th and 12th that is the weekend. And so I will probably not be podcasting that weekend, but then I will podcast again the following week, and then I will have some news to tell you about the fall knit along and some other things that are happening around here. So I hope that you are having a wonderful week and weekend, and until I see you next time, I will be here next weekend, so I will see you then. I will say happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!